Hello, my name is Andrei Alexander Kolomensky, and I'll present my thesis work from a Master of Science degree in Aerospace Engineering obtained in May 2013 from the Dwight Look College of Engineering at Texas A&M University. I'm grateful to Dr. John Junkins and my committee members for supporting this project and providing me with valuable advice throughout my research work. This video presentation will showcase a demo of the developed Spatial Augmented Reality, or for short SAR, system called the Digital Whiteboard. A general SAR system overlays digital content onto a real-world scene to provide unique user interaction possibilities with the real-world objects and the augmented digital content. Now I'll demonstrate the Digital Whiteboard SAR system by writing my first name in digital ink. The video in the top right of the screen is a live view of the projected digital content augmented to a planar poster board. This display allows the user to interact with the system through the use of an IR or infrared stylus. The video in the background is a simultaneous IR feed from the Kinect's IR sensor observing the projected display. Here, the developed software identifies and tracks the reflected IR light from the user's IR stylus, and then using post-processing algorithms, obtains transformed coordinates of the stylus's position for the digital projector to accurately project the user's writing. Using this system, any planar surface can be turned into a digital projective interface. In essence, realizing the concept of digital ink. This technology has many future applications, including teaching. For example, imagine a professor using this digital whiteboard system instead of the original chalkboard. This way, the content written on the board is digitized and streamed wirelessly to personal computers and tablets in front of the students as a visual aid. Also, the system can be applied to home entertainment purposes. For example, imagine turning a home wall into a fully interactive painting canvas. Overall, the system can be extended to general electronics by providing a portable and accurate visual interface that can be augmented with a planar surface in any kind of environment. For these reasons, I believe there are many future applications of the SAR technology in computer vision tasks, and my current interest lies in developing this kind of computer vision hardware and software. I will continue by describing the hardware and software requirements of the SAR system. Then I will demonstrate the calibration process of the digital whiteboard given a unique system configuration. Last, I will explain the methodology behind the presented work. Starting with the SAR system hardware. A digital PC projector is used to spatially augment digital content onto the real world. Specifically, a Dell digital microprojector was chosen. It has VGA input and displays a video with an 800 by 600 pixel resolution at 60 Hz refresh rate. It also features the capability to manually adjust focus and keystone distortion. The famous Xbox 360 Kinect device provides all the visual sensors for the digital whiteboard. The Kinect features a color RGB camera, an IR camera, and IR projector. When coupled together, the IR camera and the IR projector form a depth sensor using structured light approach. For this developed SAR system, only the color RGB and the IR sensors are used at a 600 by 480 pixel resolution with a 30 Hz refresh rate. A planar surface as this white poster board is used as the projection plane and an effective surface for the digital whiteboard. Note, there is a chessboard pattern attached to the surface for the upcoming calibration procedure. An Asus G73SW laptop is used as the control PC responsible for processing data from the utilized sensors and providing feedback to the digital projector for visual output. Finally, an IR stylus is used for providing user input on the effective digital whiteboard surface. This IR stylus was created by taking an empty pen enclosure and fitting it with an IR LED powered by a couple of AAA batteries. The utilized IR LED emits an infrared light at 830 nanometers. In order to collimate the light source and prevent directional spreading of light emission, the LED is placed behind a black cardboard barrier with a pin-size hole. This concludes the hardware overview for the digital whiteboard SAR system. Now, I will briefly describe the software implementation of the digital whiteboard. A C++ program was written to interact with the Kinect IR and RGB sensors and the digital PC projector to realize the SAR system. The program was developed using Visual Studio 2008 with various third-party library dependencies such as OpenAI for communicating with the Kinect, OpenCV for facilitating computer vision tasks, and CV blobs for accurate blob detection in a digital image. The first step to realizing any computer vision system is always sensor calibration. So now I will proceed to calibrate the digital whiteboard SAR system given a unique system configuration as shown. The various hardware components are positioned as follows and labeled in the video. Note that if the position or orientation of either the Kinect device or the digital PC projector are changed with respect to each other, the calibration has to be performed again, since the extrinsic parameters will not be the same for various system configurations. Here you can see the projection plane that will soon be used for the calibration procedure. The chessboard pattern on the left is projected by the digital PC projector during the runtime of the digital whiteboard program, while the chessboard pattern on the right is a real chessboard pattern attached to the planar poster board. Now I will begin the demonstration of the digital whiteboard by showing you the screen output during the runtime of the developed program. As previously stated, the first step will be performing system calibration. The purpose of system calibration is to determine the intrinsic parameters of the color RGB camera, IR camera, and the digital projector that include focal length, principal point offset, as well as radial and tangential distortions for each sensor. Also, through calibration, the extrinsic parameters between these three devices will be defined, such as their relative orientation and position. Zhang's calibration procedure is utilized to define these intrinsic and extrinsic parameters. This involves observing a known calibration target such as the chessboard pattern at 10 different configurations with each camera and then performing a least square optimization of these parameters to minimize the pixel reprojection area between the observed and known control target locations, such as the interior corners of the chessboard. The intrinsic parameters of the Kinect RGB color camera and the IR camera were predetermined and used in this procedure as they depend on the camera hardware such as the lens and CMOS imaging chip. Since the actual camera hardware isn't changed throughout, these intrinsic parameters stay the same for the RGB and IR camera. However, this is not true for the digital PC projector as it has an option to manually adjust focus and keystone distortion that in turn change the intrinsic parameters of the projector. The predetermined intrinsic parameters for the RGB and IR cameras are displayed in the calibration results through the camera matrix and distortion coefficient vector. The extrinsic parameters between the RGB and IR cameras were also predetermined since both cameras are built into the Kinect enclosure and the position and orientation between these two cameras is not changed throughout. For example, if I was to take apart the Kinect and individually place the RGB and IR cameras in my own configuration, the extrinsic parameters would change and need to be solved for. However, this is not the case, since as you saw previously, the Kinect device has not been modified since its factory build. At this point, I will proceed to calibrate the digital PC projector using Zhang's calibration procedure. However, modeling the projector as an inverse of a camera, since the projector takes two-dimensional pixel points and projects to a 3D dimensional real-world space, which is the opposite of a camera. To perform this procedure, both real and projected calibration targets need to be detected in the color RGB images. A set of 10 different frames of the calibration plane in various poses is captured by the RGB camera. The IR camera is initialized for the final calibration target pose, and an image is taken to define the calibration plane homography from the IR camera's perspective. This is done because the IR camera can't see the projected calibration chessboard, since the digital projector does not emit light in the infrared spectrum. After capturing these 10 different calibration target poses, OpenCV's corner detection algorithm is used to localize the 2D positions of the interior corners of each chessboard to sub-pixel accuracy, thus defining the 2D locations of the calibration control targets in each RGB image. The same is done for the IR camera image of the final calibration plane pose. The program quickly performs the calibration of the projector by calculating its intrinsic and extrinsic parameters. This defines all of the calibration parameters for each device, and the actual digital whiteboard interface is launched and ready for user input via the IR stylus. Here I draw a 5-corner star. Notice how the IR response is tracked with a red circle in the background IR camera video, and the video in the top right corner shows the real-time digital projection of the corresponding writing. As previously noted, this can be described as digital ink. This schematic visualizes the necessary steps for correct visual projection of the digital ink corresponding to the IR stylus on the digital whiteboard. The first step begins with the user activating the IR stylus and emitting a collimated IR light beam onto the planar surface. The second step involves the IR camera of the Kinect observing the IR response and identifying the centroid of the reflected IR light emitted by the stylus. Third, the control computer performs perspective transformations on the registered IR stylus position using homogeneous coordinates and matrix algebra. Finally, the fourth step consists of the projector correctly projecting the position of the IR stylus in real time by displaying digital ink. This concludes the video presentation on the digital whiteboard SAR system.